I stepped into the office lobby just past 7 in the morning, dragging my carry-on behind me, still running on fumes from the red-eye out of Phoenix. My suit was wrinkled, throat dry, but my brain was wired from the adrenaline of closing the biggest logistics deal our company had ever landed. I expected balloons, or hell, at least a handshake. Instead, I saw 3 black garbage bags sitting in the middle of the marble lobby, with my name taped to each one. I stopped cold. Right in front of them stood Kara, my boss's wife, technically head of operations and unofficial queen of passive-aggressive power plays. She had her arms folded like she'd been rehearsing this moment for weeks. "You're 43. You're a liability," she said, tilting her head like she was doing me a favor. "We're downsizing." Time's up. 12 hours earlier, I was shaking hands with Calvin Henderson, locking in $1 million deal. 12 hours. August. I blinked at her, then looked around. Josh leaned against the receptionist's desk, sipping his coffee like this was entertainment. Valerie from payroll stood awkwardly behind him, eyes fixed on the floor. Nobody said a word. "What the hell is this?" I asked. My voice echoed off the marble like it didn't belong there. Kara smiled, the kind of smile that felt like an insult. "It's simple," she said, sweet like poison. "You're out. We've already wiped your files. This," she gestured to the bags with one manicured nail, "is what you're worth." I stared at the bags. One of them had my running shoes poking through the plastic. Another had the succulent plant I kept on my desk, still in its ceramic pot. No box, no folder, not even a damn cardboard lid. "I don't understand," I said. My voice cracked a little, just enough that I hated myself for it. "You don't have to," she replied. "Legal's sending over your severance, but you're off the system. Badge won't work. Please exit the premises." Josh snorted behind her, like he couldn't hold it in. I looked around again, waiting for someone, anyone, to speak up. Nothing, just silence and the smell of hotel-grade air freshener. So I walked over, grabbed the trash bags one by one, and dragged them toward the glass doors. My suitcase bumped along behind me. No goodbyes, no thank you, just trash bags. And the sound of Josh laughing as the doors closed behind me. I loaded the trash bags into my trunk one by one. The second one ripped, dumping a stack of binders onto the asphalt. I didn't pick them up right away. I just stood there for a second, hands on my hips, staring at the mess like it was someone else's life. Eventually, I shoved everything back in, slammed the trunk, and got into the car. I gripped the steering wheel hard, hard enough that my knuckles turned white. I didn't cry, I didn't scream or hit anything. I just sat there and smiled, not from joy, from clarity. They thought this was it. Thought they could gut me and I'd just go away. But they forgot who I am. I started the car and pulled out of the lot. No destination at first, just needed to move. 30 minutes later, I ended up on my dad's street in Chandler Heights. Quiet cul-de-sac, sagging mailbox, same crack in the driveway from 20 years ago. He answered in pajama pants and a Cardinals hoodie. "You look like hell," he said, stepping aside so I could walk in. "Red-eye," I muttered, "and corporate betrayal." He didn't ask questions, just made coffee, strong, black, no sugar, and poured me a cup. We sat in silence at the kitchen table while the sun crept in through the blinds. "I got fired," I finally said. His eyebrow twitched. "The hell?" "3 trash bags and a fake smile," I said. "Right in the damn lobby. No warning, no explanation." He didn't respond right away. Just reached for the coffee pot and poured more into my mug. "I locked in the Henderson deal last night. Biggest one the company's ever had," I said. "Doesn't add up." His voice was low even. "You land a $1 million contract and they cut you the next morning?" "Nope," I said, leaning back in the chair. "Makes 0 sense unless—" I stopped. Something shifted in the back of my head. There was this moment, about a week ago. I'd stayed late, finishing up the client proposal. Kara was in the hallway with Josh. They didn't know I was behind the partition. She said, "He's getting too close to the clients. We need someone we can control." Back then I thought it was just ego talk, but now it made perfect sense. That deal gave me leverage, more than they were comfortable with. "They're scared," I said out loud. Dad didn't answer, just nodded like he already knew. I finished the coffee and stood up. "I'm gonna need the spare room for a while." "It's yours," he said. "Just clean it this time." I grabbed my bags from the car. One of them split open again. I didn't even flinch this time. Just grabbed a roll of duct tape and started patching it up. Let them think they ended me. They just gave me room to move. Next morning, I sat on the edge of the bed in the spare room, laptop balanced on my knees. The termination email was sitting there in my inbox like a bad joke. Subject line: separation agreement. 2 weeks pay. Standard language. Some legalese about confidentiality. Then, in bold, non-compete clause. 12 months, no contact with existing or former clients. No mention of the Henderson deal. No mention of the 6 months I spent bringing it to the finish line. Not even a thank you. I clicked down to the signature line and hovered over the sign button. My hand moved without thinking. Habit. But I stopped right before the final click. Kara's smug face flashed across my mind. Number. Not today. I closed the tab and opened a blank doc. I started typing. Fast. Every client I'd touched over the last 3 years. Company names, project details, pain points, budgets, contacts. I listed everything I could remember. Who hated email, who needed weekly check-ins, who always tried to push payment terms past 90 days. 2 hours later, I had 11 pages of pure intel. My phone buzzed. Unknown number, I answered. Yeah? A voice on the other end, firm, direct. This is Calvin Henderson. I just got back from a trip and was told you quit right after closing our deal? No, I said. They fired me. Next morning, 3 trash bags in the lobby. There was silence, then a sharp breath. She said you walked away. Voluntarily, she lied. He went quiet again. I waited. Then he said, "Can you meet me for lunch?" I was already grabbing my keys. We met at a steakhouse off the 202. No small talk. He ordered a ribeye. Rare. I got the same. I don't like being lied to, Calvin said, cutting into his steak like it insulted him. Especially not after I spent 7 figures. She's protecting her position, I said. I got too close to the clients. That's what she told her team. He raised an eyebrow. Too close. I listened. Understood what people needed. That deal? It wasn't just numbers. It was 6 months of groundwork. She wants someone she can control. That's not me. He leaned back, chewing, then set his fork down. I want you overseeing the rollout, he said, directly. As a consultant, you'll invoice me. 2-year contract. I blinked. He added, I'll pay you double what they did. I wasn't expecting that. Not the amount, not the speed. You sure about this? I asked. Dead sure, he said. You delivered. They screwed up. We shook hands across the table. No contracts, no legalese. Just 2 guys who understood how to make things work. By the time I got back to my dad's house, I had 3 missed calls from Kara's office line. I didn't call back. Instead, I reopened that termination email, scrolled all the way to the bottom, and clicked decline. Then I hit delete. 3 days later, I walked through the same front doors they tossed me out of. Only this time, I wasn't dragging trash bags. I was carrying a leather folder and wearing a navy suit Calvin's assistant overnighted to me. The receptionist froze when she saw me. I didn't even stop. The conference room was full. Everyone from OPs, logistics, account management. Josh had a spot near the window, smirking like he owned the place. That died quick. Calvin stood at the head of the table. Morning, everyone. This is Karen. He'll be overseeing implementation for Henderson Shipping, representing us directly. Dead silence. Kara turned her head like someone had slapped her. Josh actually dropped his coffee. It hit the floor with a loud thud, followed by a muttered shit. I didn't smile. I just pulled out a chair. Calvin didn't waste time. We expect full cooperation from your team. Trevor, please walk us through your understanding of Karen's original implementation model. Poor kid looked like he'd never touched the file. Trevor flipped through some papers, cleared his throat, and started talking about network optimization flowcharts, like he was reading off a college PowerPoint. Calvin looked confused. I knew why. None of this was mine. This doesn't match what we agreed on, he said, frowning. Where's the carrier prioritization matrix? Trevor blinked. I thought we were going in a different direction. With what? A PDF and a prayer, I said. Kara jumped in, all syrupy. Trevor's still ramping up. We've had to adjust, obviously, since you fired me, I cut in. She pressed her lips together. I turned back to Calvin. Want me to walk through the actual system? Please, he said. I took the marker, stood at the whiteboard, and laid it out. The entire model, step by step. Carrier ranking, load visibility, performance tracking, all the pieces Trevor didn't even know existed. Josh stopped pretending to be interested halfway through and just stared at the table. Kara kept interrupting. That's not how we labeled Phase 2. Those tags aren't in our master doc. We've updated this since... No, I said, shutting the marker down on the tray. You didn't update anything. You buried it. Big difference, Calvin stood. Let's take 10. Everyone shuffled out. I grabbed a water bottle from the table and turned to leave, but Kara stepped in front of me. This is a stunt, she hissed. No, I said, calm and clear. This is business. She leaned in. You're here to humiliate me. I shrugged. I'm here because I know what I'm doing. You had your chance. Her eyes burned, but she didn't say another word, just stormed out. I walked back to my seat. Trevor passed me in the hallway, avoiding eye contact like I was the IRS. I sat back down, opened my folder, and waited for round 2. After that first meeting, the dam broke. By the end of the week, I was getting messages from old coworkers like clockwork. Most started the same way. Hey, random question. Do you happen to have... Quick favor, do you remember how we handled Beaumont's freight tracking? I knew what this was. Kara's team was in over their heads, scrambling without the systems I built, without me. I answered the ones I could. Straightforward, professional, no small talk, no jokes, nothing extra. See if you can get it from the CRM archive, I'd write. Last I remember, we tagged Beaumont under high sensitivity priority, then ran dual path validation. The messages kept coming. By Tuesday, someone bold enough, Michelle from Contracts, just asked outright, "Do you still have copies of your files?" I didn't reply. Instead, I called Ezra. He'd been my lawyer friend since high school, ran a small firm out in Mesa. I sent him a folder of everything I still had. Notes, email threads, client strategy docs. You're clean, he said after an hour. A non-compete's barely enforceable in this state unless they sue. And even then, you've got documentation. Half this stuff was built under verbal approval, some under email. You're covered. What if they try to bluff it? I asked. Then bluff back harder. Sure enough, Thursday morning, I walked into a meeting with Calvin's team, and there she was, Kara, already seated at the table with a smug little lawyer in a gray suit and bad tie. She didn't even look at me. Calvin leaned toward me and whispered, "She called this emergency compliance check." I nodded, dropped my folder on the table, and sat down. The lawyer cleared his throat. "We're concerned Mr. Karen is operating in violation of a prior employment agreement, specifically regarding proprietary systems." "Which systems?" I asked. Kara jumped in. "Everything tied to Henderson's rollout. The tier matrix, the routing code, the carrier matching logic. It's all derivative of what you built here." "No," I said. "It's what I built. Period." The lawyer raised his hand like he was directing traffic. "Whether or not you built it under your previous role, it may still fall under protected IP if..." I cut him off. "Hold up." I pulled out a printed email, slid it across the table. Kara's name, her email address, time-stamped from last year. Subject line, custom routing logic. In the body, develop what you need. I trust your judgment. Build it out however you see fit. Kara's face went flat. Calvin leaned over, read it, then looked at her. "You authorized it." She didn't speak. Her lawyer started to open his mouth again, but Calvin raised a hand. "Don't." The lawyer packed up quietly. Kara sat frozen. I turned to Calvin. "We good?" He nodded. "We're good." I walked out of that room without another word. My phone buzzed again. Another message from someone inside. "Sorry, just... What did you use to track carrier delays for Petwell?" I didn't answer this one. Let him sweat a little longer. By the end of the day, it was like the industry could smell blood in the water. Word spread fast. Not just about the contract, about me. 2 days later, I got a LinkedIn message from a VP over at Kilmer Freight. "Heard you're consulting. We need someone who actually knows what they're doing." Then another one. "Inland Dynamics, same tone, same urgency." I didn't waste time. Filed the LLAC paperwork that night. Karen Solutions. Straightforward, no fluff. Just my name and a promise to deliver. A week later, I had 3 clients. 3 full accounts, all one's Kara's team used to handle. I didn't go after them. I didn't send a single message. These people came to me because they knew who did the real work. Calvin made a point to call every couple of days. Need anything from my end? He'd ask. Nope, I'd say. You're keeping your side clean. That's all I need. Meanwhile, Kara's silence was deafening. No messages. No calls. Just occasional notes forwarded from confused contacts asking who they were supposed to talk to now. One afternoon, I was deep into a system rebuild when the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Spencer, from marketing, loose tie, messy hair, holding a manila folder like it was on fire. Hey, he said, your dad said you were out back. Working, I replied. What's going on? He handed me the folder. Inside was an internal memo, company performance report. Highlighted sections, notes in red ink, underlined phrases like client churn, delivery lag, and account response gaps. At the bottom, risk level, high root cause, lack of continuity after Karen's departure. I let the folder hang open in my hand. She's blaming you, Spencer said quietly. Said you created the chaos on purpose. Told the exec team you must have sabotaged the files. I looked him dead in the eye. I haven't done anything. He gave a slow nod. I know. I handed the folder back. That's the point. Spencer hesitated. If there's ever a spot, your team, I'd jump. I didn't answer, not yet. I walked him to his car and went back inside. Back in the garage, my second screen pinged. Kilmer Freight's data sync was complete. Numbers were lining up. Charts looked solid. Their regional manager had already emailed me a thank you note. That night, I cracked open a beer and watched my system run on its own for the first time. Clean, stable, no noise. I didn't build Karen Solutions to prove anything to Kara, but it was starting to speak for itself. The next call came just after lunch. Unknown number. This is Karen. This is Lyra Watson. I'm chair of the board for Western Axis Logistics. We need to meet. She didn't sound polite. She sounded like someone who already knew the truth and didn't have time for games. Name the place, I said. They showed up that same evening. Lyra and 2 other board members I recognized from annual meetings. Blazers, tablets, notepads, and a thick stack of emails held together by a binder clip. We sat around the dining table at my dad's house. He nodded to them, gave a tight-lipped smile, then went upstairs without a word. Lyra opened the stack and laid it out like evidence in a trial. These are internal emails from the last 6 months, pulled from legal's archive. Kara's name is on over 80% of them. Direct orders to withhold information from you, block system access, redirect clients. One of the board guys flipped through the papers. She claimed you walked. She actively misled us, rewrote the timeline. I didn't say anything, just kept reading. Lyra leaned forward. So, here's where we are. I looked up. We have 2 offers, she said. Option 1, you come back, build your own department, hire your team. And option 2, we buy Karen Solutions outright, absorb your clients, fold you back in, big payout, no strings. I sat back in my chair. I'll think about it. Lyra nodded once. You've earned that. They left 10 minutes later. No handshakes, just business. That night, another client dropped them. Petwell Logistics. They'd been shaky for weeks, one delay away from pulling the plug. Calvin forwarded me the email. We no longer feel confident in your team's ability to execute. Kara must have lost her mind when she saw it. By morning, she was holding all-hands meetings, trying to plug holes with last-minute reports and half-baked contingency plans. Someone leaked a memo. We're not losing control, we're evolving. That word, evolving, made me laugh out loud. I called Ezra. She's gonna fight this, I said. If I go back, she'll find a way to box me in. Then don't go back, he said. Walk back in above her. We spent the next 2 days drafting the counteroffer. Tight, direct, a new department, client success strategy, total independence from Cora's org chart, no oversight from legacy execs, final say on team, systems, client interaction, budget control, and my title, Director of Client Success. We sent it off that Friday morning. Less than 2 hours later, Lyra called back. We accept. I hung up, walked outside, and stood in the middle of the driveway. The air felt sharp, dry, clean. It wasn't revenge, it was reclamation. I walked into the building with a badge that opened every door. 2 floors up from my old department, a new office waited with my name already etched into the glass. Director of Client Success. I didn't look around. I didn't wave at reception. I went straight to the 8th floor conference room, Kara's war room, where she held her daily emergency huddles since everything started falling apart. I opened the door mid-sentence. She was standing in front of the whiteboard, scribbling something about retention optimization. 7 heads turned at once. Kara froze, marker still in her hand. This is a closed meeting. Not anymore, I said, stepping inside. Client Success now reports to me. Dead silence. She blinked once. Excuse me? I set the folder down in front of her. Inside, org chart updates, team shifts, and the official memo signed by Lyra Watson herself. Effective immediately, I said, loud enough for the whole room to hear. Your department's accounts, systems, and client communications move under my team. Trevor coughed. Valerie looked like she was about to pass out. Kara stared at the papers like they were written in another language. You planned this. I locked eyes with her. No, you did. The room stayed dead quiet. She didn't speak, didn't sit, didn't even breathe, from what I could tell. I turned to the group. You'll each get new reporting structures today. My team will onboard you over the next week. We're starting fresh. Questions can come after nobody said a word. Nobody needed to. Kara's jaw clenched. This is a hostile takeover. No, I said. This is cleanup. Trevor looked down at his notepad like he wanted to disappear. I slid the folder closer to her and walked to the door. Keep your title. Frame it. Put it on your desk. Doesn't matter. You've got no team, no clients, and no control. She didn't respond, didn't follow me, just stood there like the power had been drained out of her body. I stepped into the hallway. The door shut behind me with a soft click. I walked back upstairs to my new office. Clean desk, 2 screens, window view. From that height, the floor I used to sit on looked small, like a memory. I sat down and opened my laptop. The laptop booted up, and that was it. The start of something real. Over the next 6 months, we rebuilt from the inside out. No fluff, no wasted motion. Just results. Client retention hit numbers this company had never seen. 3 of the biggest accounts that walked during Kara's storm came back. Petwell, Orion, and Eastgate Freight. All 3 said the same thing. We trust you again. My team doubled in size, then tripled. We onboarded smart, kept systems lean, dashboards clean, every process tracked and documented. No guesswork, no babysitting. People asked questions, shared ideas, gave feedback like it mattered. Because now, it did. We had real trust, real respect. And Kara, she faded into the background like a file no one opens anymore. She kept her office, still came in early, still dressed like she ran the place. But the halls got quieter when she walked by. Nobody stopped at her door. Emails didn't CC her. Calls didn't loop her in. She was still there, just not part of anything that moved. I heard she tried pitching a new strategic alignment initiative to the VP of operations. He told her to run it through my team first. She didn't. A few weeks later, HR posted her role as under review for restructuring. Then came the company-wide meeting. It was packed. Every floor, every department. Big projector screen, Q3 performance charts, and then Lyra stepped up to the mic. We've seen record growth in client retention and satisfaction, she said, a direct result of the systems and leadership from our client success division. She looked over at me, which is why we're announcing a new executive role, Chief Client Officer. The applause started before she finished. I stood, walked up, shook her hand, then turned to face the room. My old team was near the back. Trevor clapped fast. Valerie nodded. Even Josh, arms crossed, gave a tight, slow clap. Kara sat off to the side, hands in her lap. Her applause came last. Slow, hollow. She didn't smile. I didn't need her to. Afterward, people came up. Some I hadn't spoken to in years. Spencer grinned like he saw it coming months ago. Calvin gave me a firm nod, then slipped out without a word. I made my way back to the elevator, up 2 floors, down the hall, into the office with my name on the door. I closed the door behind me, set the plaque Lyra gave me on the shelf, and walked to the window. The sunlight hit the corner of my desk just right. That's when I saw it, the little succulent, same cracked pot, same faded soil. My dad must have snuck it in again. It was still alive, still growing. It happened exactly 1 year later. I was the first one in, as usual. The building still smelled like fresh paint on the executive floor, and the sun was barely cutting through the downtown haze. I unlocked my door, stepped into my office, and nearly stepped on it. A small, folded piece of paper. No envelope, no name, just slipped under the door like a secret. I picked it up, unfolded it, and read the line written in black ink, the letters tight and careful. Heard what you built. You earned every bit of it. That was it. No signature, but I didn't need one. The handwriting was neat, slanted. Same kind Kara used to scribble on meeting notes and whiteboards, back when she still had people who listened. I stood there for a second, holding the note between 2 fingers. Then I smiled. She still lingered in the building, showing up to a corner office stripped of real authority. No team and no purpose. But she wasn't the one clients called anymore. I was. They didn't want layers. They didn't want middlemen. They asked for me by name. And the ones who used to laugh behind their hands when I got tossed out with trash bags. Now they emailed asking for meetings, advice, intros. Most of them didn't even bother pretending they hadn't ghosted me before. My team ran clean, focused, smart people, zero politics. Promotions were earned, not handed out to whoever kissed up the chain hardest. People stayed late because they wanted to, not because they were scared. Kara tried to shut the door behind me, lock me out, make me disappear. She didn't expect me to build the whole damn floor above her. I sat at my desk, the note still in my hand, set it down, picked up my coffee, looked out over the city through glass I didn't have access to a year ago. Everything she tried to take from me, clients, trust, identity, I got back, stronger, cleaner, mine. I didn't destroy her, I outgrew her. That's the part they always forget. Let them underestimate me. That's how I win.